hurricane, a tidal wave. Essence perfect, life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You're burying me, burying me. Yeah, you're burying me, burying me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. Whoa. I can see, I can hear, going crazy for the luck. It's got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. Yeah, you are.
You're watching OLE, and this is a Dijack Hijack.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Marvel Talk. I am OLED Ed Fries. I am joined by my tag team partner over here, Andre C. Andre, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing pretty darn well, man. Actually, just rewatched the movie this evening before coming on here. So, yeah.
Yep. And of course, we couldn't talk about the biggest bromance in the MCU with the bisexual undertones and everything else that goes on with this. The bromances and the romances. We got Lauren Goodnight here to fill us in on all of that. Hello, Lauren. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Always happy to be here.
Lauren didn't so much as ask to be on this show as to kind of demand to be
Yeah,
on
she
this
did. She
show.
very much did.
I do remember getting a DM, as soon as you do Winter Soldier, I'm on that show. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Once my
Happened
brain
already.
caught up with, Marvel talk. Oh, shit. They're going to do Winter Soldier eventually. And I realized you guys have been doing this show forever. I'm just saying. I was like, wait. Oh, they can't do this one without me.
We cannot, we would not, we shall not until we're here.
Oh.
So let's go ahead and be in the beginning and just give our overall views on the movie as a whole. Like, we're not going to do like spoilery, non-spoilery. It's been long enough. If you haven't seen it, that's your fault.
Yeah.
But Lauren, we'll start with you. Go ahead and give your thoughts on Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
So I thought it was an extraordinary spy film, and it was a really, really, really good superhero film, but it was a better spy film. And I enjoyed it as that. I mean, I loved these characters. I love Captain America. I love Steve Rogers and James Barnes. And these characters mean something to me. So seeing this particular storyline, being excited to see what they were going to do with the Winter Soldier storyline. I mean, that buoyed me for like an entire summer. But then I started sort of looking beyond my own nose, and I was working with queer youths at the time and people who were like 18, 19, 20, just sort of trying to find their way. And the undertone of the summer was that this was the best bisexual film to ever be made. And I won't stand with that, but I will say it is possibly the best bisexual film of the 20 so fars.
Yeah, it's fine. I enjoy it. I never, when I watch this movie, I never think, like, I always make the joke, it's Steve and his boyfriend Bucky. But at the same time, I don't really mean it. I just mean that they're that close of friends, that it's that kind of a relationship. Yeah. But I can understand how people can read into it and see into it. We got our good friend Astrid here. Hello, Astrid. Thank you for joining us.
Astrid. Hi.
You know what? And Andre, while you go ahead and give your thoughts on the movie, I'm going to move you above Mr. Nicholas Fury so that all the comments don't block your head.
Yay! But I think that might be a good thing though if it blocks me. But yeah, I was a big comic fan growing up. I think in high school I kind of fell out. And in 2006 when the Winter Soldier was kind of introduced back into comics, but I think it was around 06, yeah. Um this is where I got back into comics around that time, and this is where, and I loved that storyline of the Winter Soldier. I love it's just such a well done arc. This is
So
the first,
good.
like, he's what Bucky was one of the few characters that died in comics that was never resurrected, and to bring him back in such a monumental way was awesome. And so I was so, and I knew after seeing the first Captain America, we'd eventually get Winter Soldier at some point because you casted Sebastian Stan. You don't cast Sebastian Stan
And
with
then you
only one.
cast him off a train.
Yeah, you don't kill off a character and play for Sebastian Stan. So and going into this, I was so excited to see where they went. I still think to this day, and me and Ed have talked about this. My ranking may change as we watch through all these movies again. But the last time I ranked everything, this to me was the best Marvel movie. The last time I ranked, it finally went above Iron Man, and Iron Man's actually fallen a few spots for me. Not that it's bad, it's just it's not. It's still great, but man, this movie works on so many levels. It's a spy film, but if you take out the character of Captain America and just have it be a regular spy, it still works. Everything works.
Yes.
Oh,
You
good.
get it. You get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. As we normally do, we're going to go ahead and start with the overarching, people in the movie, things that go on. But I think we'd be remiss if we didn't start with what made Captain America and the Winter Soldier one of the best Marvel movies, and two people who might be most responsible for the second half of the MCU being what it was going into Infinity War and Endgame. We have to talk about Joe and Anthony Russo. These guys who had only ever basically done television directing before this.
Community.
Yes, they did Community. I believe they also did some stuff with Arrested Development too, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
But they were then handed the reins to this movie, and they were like, here, do something fun with this. And I remember watching on Screen Junkies, I remember watching them talk about the movie when they were doing the honest trailer for the movie. And they were talking about how on set, they tried to honest trailer proof this movie to make it as good as it could be with as minimal plot holes as there could be without, spoiling things that they have to tell later on. It's so unique to see the way they did that in the movie they made, and to think that their 4 movies rival the 3 movies made by James Gunn. That's widely considered to be the best of the MCU. Because in most people's minds, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Civil War, Endgame, Infinity War, Guardians 1, 2, and 3 are somewhere in your top 10 of the MCU. Most of those movies somehow make the cut there in most people's lists.
Yeah. I agree with you there. I can agree with that.
However, Lauren disagrees with one thing about Civil War, so we're going to let her go on a little bit of a mini rant here.
No,
about
I really
the
don't
Russos
have
and
to.
Infinity War.
I really don't have to. I really don't have to. I really don't have to.
Do it.
She's been
I
talking
really
about it
don't
to me
have
for 2
to.
days on Twitter.
What? Sorry.
She's only been talking to me about it for 2 days on Twitter, so I shouldn't have given her the big screen as she's adjusting her camera, but
no, do not give me the big screen. But in all seriousness, sorry, now that I'm done being a dumbass, there we go. In all seriousness, they had 2, 3, 4 good storylines they could have taken And Civil War was not my favorite in remotely that they could have done. And I kind of hate to say that, and there are lots of more reasons, but everything that was done in Civil War should have been its own Avengers film. It just should have been. It should have been Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that fact. It should
I
have been the Avengers movie.
I defend Age of Ultron a lot, and
It's a good movie. Don't get me wrong.
You know, Five Nights at Ultron's really did it for some people, but Five Nights at Ultron's did not do it for me. This was not an age. This was a weekend. Dude,
I agree. I agree. The MCU kind of wasted Ultron. I will wholeheartedly agree there.
And he's such a good character. He was so well written. He was the only good character. He was the only well-written character in that film, but he was so well written.
Yeah, there are some issues with that movie, but I enjoy large portions of that movie. But no, I would agree that Civil War is such a pivotal story in Marvel Comics, and to twist and tweak it the way they had to because they couldn't use Kamala's Law because she hadn't been introduced, and they couldn't use half the characters that they needed, and they didn't tell the comic accurate version of Civil War, which is the reason you do Civil War. It kind of hurt. But at the same time, I will say that they made a very good movie that was called Civil War. And it was Avengers 2.5. They call it a Captain America movie, but let's be honest, it's Avengers 2.5.
And I think that the Captain America franchise deserved its third film. I mean, I honestly it did not deserve to be Iron Man 3.5. It did not deserve to be Avengers 2.5. It deserved to be what everybody else's third film was, which was its own fucking film.
Well, it's still better than Iron Man 3. Come on.
Oh God, Iron Man 3. We don't talk about Iron Man
3. Going on to other people in this movie, let's go ahead and start. I mean, let's hit the obvious. Chris Evans hits another home run as Captain America. He is kind of like Tony Stark is Iron Man. Christopher Evans really kind of is Captain America in my mind.
You called him Tony Stark.
Tony Stark is Iron Man, yes.
Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. And now Tony Stark is Robert Downey Jr. if you read the new comics.
Oh, great little slip up. I think, I think Evans was casted so well into the first Avenger. He had a great job with the Avenger movie.
So good.
But this is where he truly made me like even with Winter Soldier, how good those comics were. Captain America has still always been the Boy Scout of the Marvel Universe, and he's not always been my favorite. Chris Evans made me a fan of the Captain America character far more than I ever was before.
Yeah.
Because you have the ultimate Boy Scout in who he is, but he just took it in such a great way here and just gave him such an edge while still playing to that original character. He does so well in this movie.
He was funny. That was the big deal. He was funny.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the old comics, if you look at the stuff from the 40s and the 50s, that bastard was funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, for that to come through, for that particular character trait to come through, I think made it resonate. Humor makes so many things in film resonate that just wouldn't otherwise. Like Robert Downey Jr. in blackface. If he weren't really funny, I know some people who'd be real mad. So-
Tropic Thunder is a movie in and of itself, and maybe someday we'll talk about Tropic Thunder. All the,
we don't have
and
enough
all the-
melanin. We do not have enough melanin for that discussion. I will be here for
I'm-
Black Panther before we have enough melanin for that.
I'm sure we can get Alex Kane to come talk to us about Tropic Thunder.
True.
That
Oh,
man
Matt,
can
what's
bring
up?
the melanin level to the proper areas. And if you've ever seen him interact on Twitter, he is chef's kiss. I love me some Alex Kane. He's great.
He's awesome.
The other thing that I think Chris Evans does for Captain America is the fact. Well, you need to talk to Alex Kane. I can arrange that. Potentially.
Hey, Big Money Bobby, what you doing? You ready to come
Potentially.
here and have me put my foot in your ass again?
For those
That's
that
what
don't
I thought.
understand that reference, go ahead and go over to Mark Talks and
Wrestling.
Plays, I believe. Yeah.
Mark Talks Wrestling, yeah.
His YouTube channel where he has the not the career mode, it's the universe mode with Lauren, Bobby, and himself, and all the different wrestling promotions, and you'll get that all sorted out. Yes, he is prepared for the big Hell in the Cell match. Right now, he is arranging a seating chart and a virtual ticket system for PPW. Ooh, virtual tickets! Buying PPW tickets online as opposed to at the door? Nice job, Bobby. All right, focus. She'll be fine. She'll be back in a moment.
Oh, no.
One of the things that I think Chris Evans does to bring Captain America to life, especially in this movie, is that he doesn't just tread the Boy Scout line. He's funny too, but at the same time, he does it with the stick up his ass in just the right way that he makes himself likable, but also asks all the right questions at the right times. And that comes from Marcus and McFeely doing a good job writing the character.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he goes to Peggy and talks to her, the way he goes to Sam and talks to him, as we're getting to that point where he's trying to figure out what to do with his life. There's so many times where Captain America can go wrong because they can't play the Boy Scout and ask the questions at the same time. He has this natural, genuine charisma that he does it all seamlessly, and it never once feels out of place. And in this movie especially, that was needed. We need the Boy Scout with the stick up his ass in Civil War because he needs to defend Bucky, and he needs to be able to say, it doesn't matter, I have to defend my friend. But in this one, it lets him ask the questions. It lets him be on the defensive. It lets him try to figure out who he is and what he does. And I think that's great. As Lauren fights with her video camera right now, it's okay.
Yeah, but again, it allows him, he takes to the character so that it doesn't feel like him questioning what's going on with S.H.I.E.L.D. is a bad, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like, usually if you, like, Captain America before any of this, if he would have questioned, I would have been like, what the fuck? Why is the character making that left turn? But because Evans does it in such a great way portraying Steve Rogers, it comes off so natural.
Yeah, it's just such a great thing. We also have to talk about, obviously, Sebastian Stan, who does incredible, impeccable work as the Winter Soldier. This is not his best version of the character. It won't be. He will get better at it, but he is perfect. He is perfect in this moment for what natural, you say? Winky face. Yes, you are the natural. And then she says, Sebastian. Just be careful. Axiom and Nathan Frazier are going to get jealous, Astrid. But no, I think Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan, however you look at that character, again, impeccably written. Just sheer force of will on screen, and just does all the little things he needs to do to be villainous menacing, but at the same time, allow you to see past that in those brief moments of clarity and confusion.
Yeah, those brief moments of humanity that like trickle through for him are absolutely beautiful because like you see it in his eyes, like he's almost like he plays it almost dead inside. In those first early scenes of you seeing him in the movie when he's attacking when he's attacking Nick Fury and stuff. But then you see those little like when he's facing against Buck or against Steve on the street, and his mask is knocked up, and Steve reveals Steve just going Bucky, and you see the little flash in his eyes, literally just him, just how he cricks his eyes, and it's that. It just you see that flash in his eye. You're just like, oh yes, because he does it so well.
Yeah, it's there's, and again, we'll go into more in depth as we go. Anthony Mackie making his MCU debut in this movie, playing Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon. He is the perfect clash to Bucky Barnes later on. But in this movie, he's the perfect sidekick in this version. In this movie, he's the perfect sidekick to Cap. He doesn't have a lot of character, but he has just enough character development to feel like a fully fleshed out character, but having learned next to nothing about him.
Yeah, like they bring him in so quickly, but he doesn't come off like not knowing who this guy, you know what I mean? Like his character didn't get enough intro because it just the perfect opening scene on your left, and it just gives him a natural opening to talk with the guy about working out, and says, "Hey, come see me at the VA," and then he just comes to the VA, and they start having chats. So it feels like there's an evolution of a friendship here, and again, those first, like, you know what I mean, it only takes place over like a week or two, but it feels like, and when they show up to his house, it feels like, okay, I give a shit about this dude, you know what I mean? Like it feels like that, man. Like when they initially casted him, like, really, Papa Doc for Falcon, okay, but I love it. I think he does a great job here in this movie.
Before we get Lauren's take on both Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie here, as she was dealing with some technical difficulties, a thing we made a joke that we would use depending on how long Dynamite went, and now it was a reality. We're going to go ahead and play a little bit as we were talking about that perfect opening scene. We are going to play a little bit of that because it is just utter perfection. The On Your Left, which will continue to be...
shut up and let him listen to the music.
You don't want to get in trouble with Marvel.
I got 2 or 3 more of those down here somewhere. So.
Got it. Don't say it. Don't you say it. Left. Come on!
So I had to make this like full screen.
Oh, so good.
It's just such a good opening to the character. And again, I'm gonna mute it and kind of let some of this play out over here. But the camaraderie and the dynamics between the two of them, like Captain America just meeting a stranger and instantly having that connection with somebody is just so great. And he's funny and he's just sarcastic, and it tells you right away what we're dealing with when we get, the Sam character, the Sam Wilson character, which still, giving a black man the name Sam Wilson is just, man, there's a joke in there somewhere, I'm telling you.
Oh, that's cruel.
Yeah. And then they get into the meat of the issue where they talk about their time in the service. He recommends this Trouble Man soundtrack, which we'll get back to later.
So good.
It's so good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we have the list. And for those that don't know, the list changed depending on the area in which you saw the movie.
I didn't know that.
There are alternate lists depending where you see this.
Yes.
Like
yes.
in the Japanese version of this movie, Dragon Ball Z is on this list.
Well, makes sense. That makes sense. It should be on the American list too. Come on.
No,
but everything is region specific. So all of these lists are slightly different depending where you are. But on this list, we get I Love Lucy, The Moon Landing, The Berlin Wall, both up and down, which I think is fun. Steve Jobs, Comma Apple, Disco, Thai Food, Star Wars, which is crossed out for obvious reasons, and then next to it does say Star Trek. Nirvana, Band, Rocky, and then it says something else. I forget. I don't know if it's Rocky 2, and then a question
Probably
mark.
Rocky 2.
Yeah, and then he adds Trouble Man to this. To the list. Yeah, Rocky and then Rocky 2, question mark. It's just, it's the perfect introduction to this character in this scene.
It's charming.
It is.
It is.
It's charming. He is funny and he is charming. And yeah, that is what made him... That's what made people give a shit about him in the comics, Andre. That's the thing, is he brought in that charisma, brought so many people in.
Yep.
And Jesus, the writing for him. Fuck.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I love this. I love this fucking movie.
But like I said, we're 2 minutes into this movie. We're literally 2 minutes into this movie, and it's already showing us that it's going to be leaps and bounds better than most of the things we've already seen. And we've had an opening scene.
Just from good writing for two dudes just meeting. And I in my head, I have a headcanon that this isn't the first time that Captain America has lapped him while working out. In my head,
that's common. Yeah.
In my headcanon, he's done this before. They just haven't had the chance to actually meet up before this moment. In my headcanon, that's why he's getting frustrated so quickly.
It's like, not you, not again, you sick fuck. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. Yeah. Why do you do this every morning?
Lauren, we also want to give you a moment here.
I was going to say that line that on your left, and how it comes back in Endgame makes my heart beat.
So good.
Every time I hear "on your left" now, I get a little teary eyed.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think of Marvel, and I think of that moment. It even has a great callback here, and we'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah, 100%.
In this movie, it has a great callback. Lauren, I want to give you a moment to go ahead and gush willingly here on Sebastian Stan and his portrayal, specifically here in this film, as the Winter Soldier.
So this was going to be a character that people were either going to love or hate. And so he had a nasty job ahead of him, because there are people who loved this storyline. Like, this meant something to people because it is a redemption story, and it's multi-layered, because redeeming yourself means you must reflect within the people around you. You must see who you are in their eyes and try and build yourself into a person again. And so if they had taken a misstep on this, then Bucky it wouldn't have hit. It wouldn't have hit at all. But they got it right. They got torture. They got brainwashing. They got cute boys with shirts off. It's one of those things that if you get it right, you get it right. But you need to have all the parts.
Yeah.
And
when me and
sorry.
No,
go ahead.
I was going to say, when you were trying to fix your technical issues, when me and Andre were talking about it, the thing that we agreed upon here was that there's this great level of villainous and menace in the way he portrays the Winter Soldier. But because of how well he does that, there's also this great joy that you get out of those moments of clarity, humanity, and confusion in this movie that he also portrays incredibly.
Yes.
And all of his stuff is all in the face, in the eyes, especially in the eyes. There's something special about that. And as wrestling fans, we can appreciate good facials. We can appreciate when somebody has good facials. And the Bucky Barnes character.
Yeah, phrasing, dude.
I mean,
trust me, I'm guilty. I'm guilty of saying that.
It's like they keep bringing that camera down to look at him from behind. Man, we got to be on these back shots. No, dude, take it back. Bring all those
facial,
back.
The facial expressions that he portrays in this movie, but
it's
the eyes.
If you want to clarify it, yes, that's what I'm talking about. I was having fun, letting y'all dirty minds go where y'all dirty minds went.
Honestly, again, it's another thing. If it hadn't been all parts, if he had just been, acting with his face, that would have been one thing. But he worked so hard to move like this character that wasn't a character. And to move in such a way that you are so horrendously forward facing with your aggression that you have no real self-care, no self-preservation going on. And that's a really hard thing to portray. And he did it with his face covered. And when he didn't have his face covered, it was the full package, but he did just fine. He did such a, I just can't keep saying did just fine. I don't think anybody else could have played the part and have it be as compelling.
Yeah. We then move on to another character in this movie as we're trying to get through some of these characters because we don't want the show to go 3 hours. And it's fine. I like good discussion.
Whatever.
Okay,
do a watch along. Turn it on. Let's go.
No, we're definitely not doing that on YouTube. We can do it on Twitch. We cannot do that on YouTube.
No.
I already got yelled at once by YouTube. No watch along.
I don't think we can do that on Twitch. I think you got to go to Kick for that shit.
Maybe.
Or Rumble or something.
Let's go ahead and talk about Scarlett Johansson.
Oh.
Who finally, after everything, has a character that's developed in this movie. Because she played Natalie Rushman in the Iron Man movie. Obviously she was Natasha Romanoff, but you get that Natalie Rushman, and she's there for a specific reason in Iron Man 2. In the Avengers, she has a little bit, but there's still not a ton of depth weighted onto her character. We get a little bit more backstory. We get a little bit more depth into who she is and what she's doing and why she's doing it in the Avengers. However, here we really get to see Scarlett do what Scarlett can do. We get to see Natasha Romanoff really expand the boundaries of who she is and what she is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe here. And it starts with, hey, have you guys seen a fossil?
So fucking funny. Oh my God.
Just a quick.
She is such a nightmare gay. She is.
Well, I'm just kidding. I think that they gave her something to do. That's the thing. You finally give this girl something to do in a movie more than just be eye candy and kick someone. And I love the relationship they develop between Cap and
Widow
Natasha, because I just feel that it almost feels like they're trying to write a love story, but in the end they realize no, this can't be a love story. This doesn't work as a love. And it's just creating this bond of friendship where at the first of the movie after he just doesn't trust her super well, but then they create this bond of like, you're one of the only people in this world I can trust, and it's almost becoming more of a brother-sister bond in a sense.
Family.
by the end
Yeah.
of the movie. Yeah, like a family bond by the end of this movie. Yeah, I love it.
I also want to say, just before we let Lauren go, we will let Lauren talk in just a second. One of the things I love about this is if you look forward, all of the Great Widow stuff, because again, these guys are so pivotal for the future of this movie. Anytime there's any character development for Black Widow, it is solely when the Russos are in charge. You get character development here. You get incredible character development in Civil War for her character. They then direct Endgame, which has even more character development. And then obviously you get the end of Endgame where there's no more character to develop because she's gone. But
and then you get somebody ruining her character with her movie.
That was such an odd film. That was so weird.
We'll get to Black Widow the movie eventually. Lauren, what about your thoughts on Black Widow here? No, it's okay. What are your thoughts on Natasha Romanoff here, Lauren?
I agree. This was the first time we got to see her really show any sort of character development outside of, I'm here to do this and look amazing doing it. No, she was here to do this was the character growth movie for her. And it's why I think I had really high hopes for a Black Widow film. Because if they had gone with this woman, this character that they built up, that would be super compelling. That would be a lot of fun to watch her just bulldoze through the world. Just beautifully done. But that's not what happened.
No, that's not what happened.
But no, they used this film to solidify so many strong characters that either had been in bits and pieces before this, but the 4 or 5 main characters you see in this film really crystallized here. Even though you saw them in Avengers, even though you saw them in Captain America, it all came together. You saw so much more of
cohesion,
the motivation.
Okay.
The characters made more sense at this point. And that has a lot to do with the Russos. I'll give it, this was a team effort. This film was a fucking team effort. But yeah, I think that I wish we had gotten that Natasha in other films. In her own film, that would have been great.
Speaking of team efforts, we're going to go to Team Shield / Hydra. We're going to talk about Jasper Sitwell. We're going to talk about Robert Redford, who's playing Pierce. Talk about Nick Fury. We're going to talk about Rumlow. These 4 guys make up the Shield dynamic of this movie. A little bit of Colby Smuthers thrown in there too, but what do we think of those 4 gentlemen and the work that they did in this movie? Lauren, we'll start with you on that one.
Like I said, this really was a team damn effort, and I don't think anybody dropped the ball. Certainly not those 4 men. There was not a character I would not cast the exact same way, and I mean, man, so fucking good. It was so good. The problem is you're going to have me talk about all of these people when I just want to sit here and talk about Samuel L. Jackson. And that's not fair to the amazing job everybody else on like the B tier cast did. But
go ahead and talk about Nick then. Let's talk about Nick Fury. Let's talk about
I felt like we moved out of the one trick pony sort of thing. Like we're not the, big shadowy bad anymore. We're literally just out here trying to get by. And seeing that aspect towards a whole bunch of spies was really, really, really fun. They were working through a very good spy film. That you have to have people who are very talented at these two-faced, twisted characters or you just don't have a spy film that compels.
Andre?
I think like Robert Redford. I'm gonna go in on him because, dude, this guy is probably one of the greatest actors to ever exist in this world. He's so good. Man, didn't he start Sundance? He started Sundance because he cared about film so much. He started Sundance, and he's so good. And I'm not used to watching him be the bad guy, and it was weird, but I loved it because he's such a good guy. Always playing the hero. Man, he comes across so charming, but so evil. Like you almost are like charmed by the bad guy. It is messed up, but it's so good. I love it. Sam Jackson, it's Mace Windu with an eye patch. I love it.
Speaking of, we're going to talk about it now because you've already.
Wait, one more. I gotta say, Frank Grillo. I love this dude. I think he's an amazing actor.
Holy shit!
He did a TV show about he was like a father who ran an MMA gym. Mm-hmm. Such an incredible show. This dude is such a great actor, and he does such a good job here. Like he's so earnest with Cap at the beginning, and then bam, just turns on him. It's so good.
They could have done so much with him. Why did they blow him up?
Remember,
why did they kill him off?
Yeah,
he comes back in Civil War. He comes back in Civil War.
Barely.
And he's also, and it's also, let's not forget, he's been in the What If stuff. They're still doing stuff with him as Brock Rumlow in the What If stuff. He was also in The Gray. He was also in The Purge Anarchy. He was also in Boss Level. Like, this guy is sensational, as Andre said. I adore Frank Grillo. I thought he did really great here. But we can't talk about Nicholas Fury without talking about the tool that they gave him to cut through the car and the ground being a fucking lightsaber.
Yes.
Because
that's why I said it. That's why I said it.
It's just, it's so much fun to see that. Because this man literally was like, I want a purple lightsaber because I want to find myself in that big battle. And if I have a normal colored lightsaber, I won't. Literally, there are words out of his mouth. The reason he asked for purple was because he wanted to find himself in the mess of Jedi in the Battle of Attack of the Clones. That is the only reason he wanted a purple lightsaber, is so that he could find himself, because it's the only one that's going to be weirdly colored. Of course, we have multitude of other actors and actresses who do an incredible work here, between Toby Jones, Emily Van Camp, Haley Atwell comes back for a scene. Maximilio Hernandez is really good in this as Jasper Sitwell. The Stan Lee cameo. You know, there are a multitude of other people who do a lot of good work in here.
GSP, go Canada, let's go.
Yes, even MMA fighter George St. Pierre has a very good job portraying the villain.
He was so good. That was such an amazing fight scene. Oh my god.
It really is.
He is the most deadpan, unfunny person in the entire world.
He's so funny.
He's insanely funny and charming. And I'm like, where was this man in all the MMA interviews that I watched over the years? Oh, you're playing it too. It's just, I love this fight scene. It's so much fun.
Another character I wish hadn't died.
Well, he doesn't, because again, he comes back in. Yeah, he comes back in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He comes back. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, Batroc is still alive. And even after that, he's still alive. He doesn't even die there. He's technically still in the MCU.
I'm hoping we get a cameo from him in Cap 4. I really do.
That would be great. That would make up for the loss of Sebastian Stan.
And I even believe he even voiced... He voiced his character in What If, I believe, too, in that one episode that he was in for that as well. I believe he came back for that. I do love the scene here where he's literally like, I thought you could fight with... I thought you were more than just a shield. And he's like, all right, cool. Let's drop the shield and find out.
And then just bam.
But I love,
Oh, wow, fuck out.
I love
but I
the
just-
kick blocks in here, like Cap's
Yeah.
kick blocking the kicks. Oh, it's so good.
I
This is
love
like
the way
such
that
casual. I'm watching this. I'm like, yes, this is such casual big dick energy.
yeah,
The
these two are
entire
fantastic.
film was just run like every character in this film had big dick energy. It was
Yeah.
great, perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Yep, I agree.
Indeed. But we're going to move on to our favorite sections of this movie. Lauren, why don't you go ahead and give us one of your favorite scenes from the movie? Or do we want to try to go from the beginning to the end, and we'll kind of, clip through some of these scenes from beginning to end?
Yeah, we'll narrowly
that-
jump through things. Let's do that.
All right. So after we deal with what we saw with the fight on the boat, and Cap reads Natasha the Riot Act for being the spy that she is and doing the job that she is, he then has a similar fight with Fury where he's like, what the hell? You can't give the people underneath me other missions that I don't know about. And he's like, look, you're not willing to do the shit I need you to do. She'll do anything. So you don't get to find out, and I get the results.
Yeah, pretty much. I like that. I love that.
I thought that was great. We then get, after that, he demands more clarity, and he's like, fine. And we get this great scene in the elevator with this great story from Samuel L. Jackson about his father, who used to be an elevator operator in the old days. And he tells the story that he's leading up to the revelation he's about to give Cap about how he'd keep all the money in a lunch bag on his way home. And now the neighborhood started getting more and more dangerous. He carries a gun in that lunch bag to scare off people who might mug him. And then we see the 3 helicarriers. And Nick Fury, without missing a beat, looks at them and goes, yeah, they're a little bigger than a 32. 22, I'm sorry. And we see the Insight helicarriers. I think this is great.
The scope shocked me because I was like, we had seen big areas like this done with CG. We'd seen it a lot. But when I saw it in that, I don't know what it was, whether it was the lighting, whether it was just like the final touches. Disney magic, I don't fucking know. But that was one of the times when I felt that space, like large space, was very well communicated to the audience. There was no doubt that you kind of look at it and go, oh, that's why the train isn't running. Oh, God.
Yeah,
that's why the train isn't running. I mean, that was literally the Metro joke the entire time.
Oh, Andre's having technical difficulties now. I apologize.
Oh, Andre, no, come back to us.
And we get the scene here with Cap, and this is what is at the whole center of the film now, is this scene after seeing the creation of the helicarriers. We then get the back and forth about morality between the super spy and the Boy Scout, talking about fear, freedom, and what is and what isn't allowable to make things happen. And it's so great because neither man is right and neither man is wrong.
Yeah.
I love the idea that in this day and age, remember, we're in 2014, we're post 9/11. I love the idea of bringing the 9/11 thing. We can get the terrorists before they ever get us. With this kind of thing, we can eliminate threats that will be terrible threats to us without having to put American soldiers at risk. And Cap's like, but that's not freedom, that's fear. And he puts this morality back to it. And it's like, well, yeah, but your people did some nasty shit too. And he's like, yeah, we didn't do the things we wanted to do. There's such a great back and forth in this scene where at the end of it, you can side with either side. And morality wise, I feel you can be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, if you take parts of both of each other's arguments and put it together, that's the right goddamn answer. You know what I mean? But it just because they're coming from completely opposed sides, nothing is perfect in there.
Lauren? Oh,
I'm
stinking.
yeah, I am actually kind of conflicted about this back and forth with them. And I'm only conflicted as I have gotten older. I am very much, I'm very idealistic. I'm in some ways very naive. And I very much align myself with the idea of true justice in the American way. I'm very much about the concept of actually being allowed to live your life, having a true amount of actual liberty, and being free to find your own happiness, or at least some form of self-actualization, whether happiness is your goal or not. So I heard that at a time when I needed to hear it. And I look back on it now and I think that's it. It both sides feel naive. But it also, like, I can't give up those good feelings. I can't, take that horrendously jaded person, that I have become over the years, and sort of twist what that particular conversation and what it has shown, both characters to be. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I think I'm
No, I
getting
think
caught up in the words, but
yeah, I think
yeah,
you're doing a great job of
I'm yeah, it has become more complicated to enjoy purely as I've gotten
Mhm.
older.
Yeah,
I can agree with that.
And speaking of things that are harder to enjoy the older we get, we move on to Captain America, having seen the museum, trying to find himself again after this discussion with Fury, where Fury's like, look, you need to start getting on board because this is the Shield train, and if you're not on board, get the fuck off. So of course, where does Cap go when he needs to go ahead and get guidance and learn, who he is and what he needs to be? He goes to the one person in this world that he knows is still alive who knew him in any way, shape, or form. And it breaks everybody's heart when you're watching this scene as we see old Peggy.
Oh God.
Yep. Old Peggy. Oh, old Peggy. This is one of my favorite and least favorite scenes. I love the emotionality of this scene.
This is the up. This is the opening to Up of the Marvel universe.
It really, and like it's heartbreaking because now that we've seen Endgame, she talks about family and everything. It's him. He's her family. Like he's the one that, like when she talks about her husband in the scene when he's at the museum, it's him. He's the husband, and you're like, oh my god, like watching it after seeing Endgame breaks my heart even more, knowing that they got to spend their lives together.
Yes, but it wasn't this Peggy.
Oh, was it? It was an alternate.
No.
Oh, god damn it!
Yeah, no, he didn't.
They said it was
no,
the same
only.
one.
Yeah, no, it's the same Steve. It's a different Peg.
Okay. I thought again, it's still heartbreaking in a sense because he gets to be that person for her eventually, and it's just like
And I think even if it's not, I think there's a way that you can internalize it where she is talking about how Steve does bring her husband back to her, even if it is Steve again. It's that somehow because of who he is and everything he did, being Captain America.
Marcus and McFeely say it was Steve all along.
Yes, Marcus and McFeely will continue to say it was Steve all along. Kevin Feige and the Russos beg to differ, where they say it might be that same Peggy, it might not. They leave it open-ended.
I choose
Marcus
to
and
believe it.
Marcus and McFeely wrote it to be the same, but that doesn't mean that it was the same.
I'm going to go with the writers on this one.
No. When in doubt, we defer to Feige.
Nope.
Daddy Feige
Marcus
tells
and
us
McFeely. Marcus and McFeely.
Marcus and McFeely just give you the thing you want.
Endgame was what it was. We look at Daddy Feige.
Yeah. The part of this scene that breaks my heart isn't
I'm so
necessarily. It's fine. The part of this scene that breaks my heart, as it always does every time I watch it, is where she flips. It's where the Alzheimer's kicks in, and it's where all of a sudden she's seeing Steve. Obviously, they've had these meetings forever. Ever since he's been back, he's been meeting with Peggy, and he's been seeing her, and he's been talking to her because he feels comfortable.
It's not Alzheimer's.
Is it not?
He has dementia.
Oh, is it dementia? Okay, I apologize. Yeah. That's my fault. Yes, but it is dementia. That is a correct statement. I apologize. But the forgetfulness in seeing him again for the first time, having had a dad who went through both of those, and that's why I so easily tied them together. Having my father having gone through that and being the person in his life where all of a sudden I came back after living in Wisconsin for a few years, and having that moment where I talked to him for an entire day when I came home, and then the next morning he acts like he hasn't seen me in those 2 years in that moment. And it's such a heartbreaking and heart-wrenching moment because Steve has to pretend like that he hasn't done this 1,000 times with her every time this happens.
Yeah.
And it just reminds us all that we're getting older, and that this could potentially be the route for all of us. And it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for us that have been through it, for us that are going through it now, for us that think that we might have to go through it in the future. It's a tough road to go. But it's a beautiful scene that it's done in such a beautiful way.
Mm-hmm.
That it isn't.
When I watched this at 26, the scene hit me in a certain way. It broke my heart. Don't get me wrong, but now at 36 and knowing somebody with dementia, and this scene breaks my heart in a whole different way. Like it just.
And it's not played for a laugh, and it's not played. It's played for exactly what it is. They use it for the emotion that it needs to be, without using it distastefully, is the way I would say. Mm-hmm. Lauren, you want to talk?
I definitely sit where you are with this, Ed, because I was doing hospice care for my grandfather who died with dementia. And then I did hospice care for my grandmother who died with dementia. And I did a lot of hospice for my mom who ended up having medical neglect, and there was some dementia involved. And it was to see it like this and to have that, oh, he's going through it too, from a character that I already kind of looked up to. Again, another way to humanize and connect the character with the audience, because it certainly worked on a mark like me.
Mm-hmm. But I like the fact that it doesn't feel like our emotions are being toyed with for the purpose of needing to like Steve.
Right.
Which is
it feels organic.
Which is something sometimes that would happen in a lot of movies where they would utilize dementia as a way to have a specific feeling go over. And in this movie, they could have cut the scene where she gives him the advice and it works just the way they want it to, without having the back half to it. But because Joe and Anthony Russo are real and they deal with emotions and they deal with people, they toss that last part in to give us more, because we'll get the end of that when we get to Civil War. We need to have that moment to really feel Civil War the way we need to.
Yeah.
We move on to Fury figuring out that there's something wrong with Insight by trying to access the drive that he can't access, which he thinks is weird because according to the drive, he locked it. We get our first glimpse of Robert Redford talking to the World Council, which is now made up of 4 people. Malik is no longer on the World Council as he was in the Avengers. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. took care of that for us.
Not yet, actually.
No, is he not gone? He's not on the council, but Gideon Malik is still alive.
Gideon would end up. Gideon doesn't show up until after Hydra's reveal. I think. I could be wrong.
I know Malik was in the World Security Council in the first Avengers.
In Avengers, but then I don't think he shows up till season 3 of this, and season 2 is where they do the Hydra stuff.
Okay.
Where Hydra,
Maybe he just took a fucking sick day, man.
It could be. It could be.
He was on vacation to the Maldives.
It was a hell of a sick day then. We get Steve going to visit Sam because again, Steve needs guidance. So who does he go to? People he feels like he can connect to and trust. So he goes to Sam, and Sam's running his emotional support meeting. And we hear the story about the woman who swerves on the road because she thinks she's going to hit an IED. And Sam's and Steve's like, wow, these people are dealing with real issues like I was. He's like, well, yeah, we're all dealing with this shit, man. Like we weren't frozen for 80 years, but we're all dealing with different shit, man. Get it together. Mm-hmm. And we get our first glimpse into Sam's character with hearing about Riley and him being shot out of the sky, and Cap thinking they're talking about planes. And we'll get to how that little fun moment later on. And of course, there's then Fury's wonderful drive home.
Oh, that was so fun.
Oh, jeez. I love this scene so much.
It starts with him asking the police if they want to see his lease.
Just straight up racism.
That was so funny. That was funny.
Which is such a fucking Samuel L. Jackson line. Like, you want to see my lease?
My fucking lease. Oh, it's great. I don't know. Sorry. I haven't thought about that scene in a while, and it still hits my funny bone.
Oh, it's so good.
So much of this film, just timeless. Fucking timeless.
I want to talk about this scene, and I think in a lot of the fights in this scene, and why I think people resonate with this movie above a lot of the other Marvel movies. Everything's grounded and down to earth. Yes, there's CGI. Yes, there's explosions and Michael Bay type level explosions in this movie. But everything is grounded. All of the violence in this movie is grounded with people doing things. Whether it be a stunt double or the real actors. You have them in there doing their thing. And you can see it all. It's not something that a computer generated. It's not something that didn't happen in, reality. There's this great down to earth, portion of it that makes this feel so incredibly great.
Yeah, the cops, obviously Hydra cops, all attacking him were I think it's based in reality in a sense of people getting attacked by police, and it hits at a note, man. I'm like I say, I'm lucky I live in Canada. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, it hits at a note of reality there, but it gives you that grounding. It's probably why this movie resonates to so many people.
I do like how everything's malfunctioning in the car, and he says, well, what's not malfunctioning? And the computer goes, the air conditioning system is working perfectly.
I live in the deep south. I'd be happy with that.
I was just saying, And as a fan of Top Gear, I know that it's one of those things where it's like, that's the first thing that always goes in those cars. Those cars are always missing the air conditioning. It really is just a fantastic, little chase fight scene. Mostly all guns, mostly cars, and then we get the Winter Soldier. We get the first appearance of the Winter Soldier, and he goes to eliminate Fury, and Fury pulls out his thing.
Lightsaber.
He pulls out his lightsaber. He sees him coming. Here comes Bucky.
Time to
That
go
slow
Jedi.
walk.
Oh, Bucko.
Jedi.
Yep. Just,
So good.
Bucky gets there. He's ready to kill the Mark. Mark's not there. Mark's all gone.
Bye-bye, Mark.
Why didn't he go through the hole?
He did. Oh, why did Bucky not go through the hole?
Yeah, why did Bucky not go through the hole?
Who knows?
He doesn't know what's down there.
The Winter Soldier, his whole program is to follow and destroy. Why didn't he follow and destroy? That's my question.
Because his ass was too fat to go down the hole. He had them cakes. He was caked
He's
up,
also-
sir.
He's also too fine to be underground. You don't take a man like that and stick him underground. He's a
I'm
top. He's not a
literally
bottom.
here just to make Andre lose his shit now. I wonder how much out of pocket shit I can say to mess with you.
Please more. Please more.
Oh, Ed. Oh, you created a monster.
We see Emily Van Camp for the first time playing Agent Carter, shall we say?
Sharon Carter, yeah. Agent 13.
They have her labeled as Kate in the credits for this movie. They will eventually change her name to Sharon.
Yeah, in Civil War, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but in this movie, she's technically Kate.
Yeah, but again, we all know it's Sharon Carter,
We knew
aka
who it is,
Agent
yes.
13.
She talks about her aunt who's on the phone, who's an insomniac, being Peggy Carter, which is always great. That little bit there. And then we see Nick Fury beaten, bloody, listening to the song. It is the Cap song on the radio. And Cap tries to turn it off. And he's like, no, turn it back on. I bugged your apartment. And he's like, what the fuck? What am I going to do with you, motherfucker? Like, you bugged my apartment? What the fuck, Nick? What if I brought girls over? Why would you bug my apartment, Nick? What if I brought Bucky over?
Well, someone did. Someone does just a few minutes later.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
It's like you keep your place nice for your boyfriend to come home to eventually, and then your boyfriend just comes home and trashes it.
I also, having seen Secret Invasion, and Andre, me and you having talked about how much we love Secret Invasion, we get the line, my wife kicked me out.
Oh, so good.
And it's so great now looking back, knowing that Nick Fury is indeed married. Not only that, married to a Skrull. And how he says, who knows about your wife? And he goes, just my friends. And I'm just like, oh, fucking God. Looking back, that's such great writing that they could have never anticipated doing Secret Invasion, where we give Nick Fury the Skrull wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like,
that was. I
can't
guarantee you, Feige didn't have that idea back then.
He did not have that in the 10-year plan that Nick Fury was going to be married to a Skrull in that in Secret Invasion that he'll eventually do for Disney Plus, which didn't exist yet.
Yeah,
but
maybe
yes, Bucky,
maybe that was supposed to be in the original Nick Fury movie. That was supposed to happen.
yes, because as we talked about in the first one, in the original
Contract,
loan request, when Merrill Lynch ponied up the money to be able to start the MCU, one of the movies that they had talked about doing at that time was a Nick Fury movie. And I really wish we would have gotten that. I think that would have. I think a Nick Fury movie early in Phase 1, I think would have been really fun.
I agree.
I would have
Seeing
liked a
him put
Natasha
these.
movie at that point too, but wanting one hand and pissing the other, man. Damn.
Well, we would have had a Black Panther movie way before we did. We would have had a Natasha movie way before we did. But unfortunately, the powers that be at Disney didn't think women could lead movies and didn't think that African American audiences would go see a superhero movie, even if there was an African American lead. Which is fucking bullshit, because Black Panther is still one of the best-selling Marvel movies that ever existed.
Black Panther is tied with Winter Soldier, probably. Like they go up and down right along with each other as easily my favorite Marvel movies.
Yeah. We then see Captain America chasing after Bucky Barnes through rooftops and through buildings. It's great. Steve throws the shield. Bucky catches it with the metal arm and just looks down the shield. And Cap gets aroused.
I was about to say gifts on the first date.
Yeah, I was going to say Cap was very aroused at that moment. But we move on. We move on to the death of Nick Fury. We move on to Strike Team forcing Cap to leave before he wanted to, so that Cap hid the insight file behind 3 packages of gum.
Hubba
So
Bubba,
fucking
too.
stupid.
Now, I'm not a rich man. I'm not a rich man. But if I saw any USB drive behind 3 packs of Hubba Bubba,
I'm buying
you know what
all.
I'm doing? I'm buying 4 packs of fucking Bubba.
Yes.
Like, and they've defended this, and I'm like, no, you don't get away with this, Russos. You don't. That was
the
stupid.
only defense you have is just that Steve is such a golden retriever sometimes. Just, it's like, I have to put this away and I have to put it away now.
Mm-hmm.
Worst idea ever, Steve. So bad. So bad. At
We then get Robert Redford doing a fantastic job trying to gaslight Captain America into telling him everything and anything.
Terrible job.
He was so bad.
I said trying.
Very trying.
But I thought it was great that we have Robert Redford in here being this, because when I first watched this movie, the first time I saw this, I'm like, Cap, what are you doing? Fucking tell Redford what's going on. Tell him the truth.
It's Robert Redford. He's always playing a good guy.
Like, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, he's the good guy, Steve. What the fuck? Why aren't you telling this man the truth? Should have known. I should have known he was dirty. But I didn't.
Yes.
But it's Robert Redford. You don't think he's dirty.
No, there are many things I may think of Robert Redford, but dirty's not one of them. I'm going to kill Andre by the end of this episode. I'm sure of it.
One of us will. It's taking some bets now.
We then get to one of Marvel's greatest fight scenes, if not the greatest Marvel scene ever. We're going to pop on the audio and we're going to enjoy this. Here is the elevator scene.
Yes. Who wants to get off? That's the best redub of a line ever, is who wants to get off is now like, yeah, who wants to get off? I died when I heard it the first time.
Sorry about what happened with Fury.
Yeah, I'll bet you are, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
So fucking good.
And it's Cap just taking these. I love the fact that he's taking these little cues, beads of sweat, the hair on the back of a guy's neck standing up.
I love how he's got a little Dark Knight in him here, because he's like using the Dark Knight detective skills now.
Yep. Like, he looks at the back of this stupid guy's stupid haircut and he's like, oh, Something bad's about to happen. Like,
guys with this
he just
haircut
had-
are always there to mess my day.
Like, it's just a shitty haircut scene. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
But the door closes,
Before we
and
get
then the
started,
light.
does anyone want to get out?
So good.
Such awesome. Good.
Beautiful.
Ah,
Yeah, there was nothing homoerotic about this scene.
Mobilize strike units 25th floor.
We need more men. We've got an elevator full, but we need more.
Captain Miracle can take them all.
This backflip is awesome. Bam!
So good.
Whoa, big guy. I just want you to know, Cap. Personal!
Oh. We're gonna get video's gonna get shut down.
It kind of feels personal.
Man, he just kicks it up onto his arm.
And he kicks the shield up.
So
I mean,
good.
it literally, I still to this day, I think it's one of the greatest Marvel fight scenes. It's this little closed-in space where he takes out like 15 dudes all by himself with nothing but his shield.
It gives it so. I know it's tech. Is it? I don't know if Daredevil's MCU, the TV show's MCU, or
Yes.
it's in the universe.
Yes.
But
Like
like,
officially canon now. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
all of the
don't-
Hell's Kitchen one were. Yeah.
okay, that the first season that hallway fight scene in Daredevil. This isn't the same, but this gives me that vibe. You know what I mean? It gives me that vibe of the same thing. It's that intensity of the fight and everything, where that hallway scene is just one straight shot of Daredevil going into room, out of room, just tossing people. It's that same feeling. In my opinion, it's the same feeling you get watching either scene.
I'd agree. Speaking of intensity, we then get the choker, kisser, or leave her alone scene where Steve goes to get the drive back from the hospital and Widow has it and she blows the bubble behind his back.
So fucking
And
cute. It was such a
he
cute scene.
He pins her against the wall and he tries to get her to tell it and she's just being this little brat. So Captain America has to be the brat tamer. And she talks to, I knew that one would kill her. Oh, she's gone. She's dead for a little bit, so we can keep moving here. And Cap keeps trying to get all the information out of her because she's Widow and she knows everything.
Mhm.
Because she knows everything. And she's like, look, I don't know everything. I just pretend I know everything. I'm not that good. And then she tells the story of the bullet that she knows because, you know, they were talking to Maria earlier when Fury died. And she talks about how she got shot by a Soviet slug that went straight in and out with no rifling on. And she gives the best line. Hold on. I have to put it up here because it's so fucking funny that
Oh,
it's the bye-bye bikini line. It's the bye-bye bikini line. But it's like she has this little itty-bitty scar. And she's like, bye-bye
yeah, I'm sure
bikinis.
that's the issue.
And he's like, yeah, I'm sure you look terrible in it. Like, without missing a beat, Captain America's just like, sure. I'm sure you look great. I don't think he knows what a bikini is at this point yet. But he's like, no, I'm done with your bullshit, little girl. Like, I love this moment between the two. And I just, like I said, I wanted him to either choke her or kiss her. One of the two.
Yep.
Because that's the feeling I get when I watch this scene, is it's one of the two is about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Does Lauren have any more thoughts on this scene after I killed her with the Brat Tamer comment?
I think it's great. 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 I think it's gre I thought it set up what was going to end up becoming a really good buddy cop film, and it kind of was like a buddy spy film. And from
Yeah.
that moment on, it kind of was.
Yeah, they go to the Apple store and they try to figure out where it is.
It's in
and they don't-
Jersey.
Of course, it's in Jersey.
Fucking New Jersey.
And now they have to get out, so they pretend to be a couple. And she says, "Public displays of affection make people uncomfortable." He's like, "Yes, yes, they
no
do."
kidding. Jesus.
Time to make out.
So then he got to kiss Scarlett Johansson, which honestly, I would have made sure I screwed this up multiple times so that I got to keep kissing Scarlett Johansson while filming.
Well, the problem
Because if
is,
it's-
of course, like they know each other. They've
They
been
do, of course they
they've
do.
been acting together on and off for like 10 years or something before this. So it's just like nah.
And
man.
there's still
There was
the Brett line.
no. There was. Here's the thing: if there was supposed to be any sexual tension between her and any character in this film, it didn't happen, except with Sam.
A little bit with Sam.
Now,
There's a little bit with Sam, yeah.
yeah,
With-
I was like,
with
except with
Jason.
Sam, exactly.
Yeah.
But all of the other characters, I mean, Steve just had horny face for every other character. I swear to Christ, if he could have had horny face for the computer guy, he'd had horny face for him too. It's crazy. Ah!
We've lost Andre now. But-
yes.
But she has another brat tamer line in here where she goes, "You still uncomfortable?" And he's like, "That's one word for it."
Oh my God. Yeah, that's right.
And I'm just like, all right, cool. We're just going to play into that. But then they steal the truck and they're in the car. And my favorite line of the entire movie is in this, where they're having this discussion about who she is, what she does, and, you know, how Steve can find love again. It's this really great emotional scene between the two of them that honestly most people would have cut out, but the Russos are smart enough to have left it in. And she talks about the truth. And I'm just going to play this scene because it's my favorite line of the entire movie.
Oh, it's all right. You just make something up.
What, like you?
I don't know. The truth is a matter of circumstance. It's not all things to all people all the time.
I love the idea that to her, the truth is a matter of circumstance.
Hmm.
To
Makes
keep
sense.
herself alive, the truth is a matter of circumstance. And she's talking to the man who truth is the only thing he stands for.
Yeah.
And she's looking at him and telling him that it means nothing to her. I love the dichotomy of that scene between the two of them. With having that moment where she's like, no, the truth isn't everything to everybody, just to you, buddy.
Yeah.
And she asks him, like, what do you want me to be? And he's like, how about a friend? And she's like, you might be in the wrong business for that.
It's true.
And I love it. It's such, and again, it just shows that there's something special between the two of them. And the buddy cop story, the romance, whatever the Russos were going for, they got in this movie with these two. Because if we see that eventually they hook up, it would make sense. Based on this, on all the layers they built here, it would make sense. When he starts giving Banner advice in Civil War, in Age of Ultron, it makes sense. Because now they've realized that there is nothing there. So they moved on to them just being like a brother-sister. And he's being like, no, I've seen her flirt up close and personal. This isn't that. And Banner's like, nice. Wait, what? Andre, you all right over there?
I'm fine. Just enjoying it.
Andre's just
I
vibing.
heard him.
Yep.
But-
Vibing away, bro. Vibing away.
By the way, we're an hour and 30 minutes into the show. We're
Ah!
an hour into the movie.
We might need to go a little quicker.
So of course we get to the camp where he Camp Lehigh, the place where
Camp
Captain America-
Jersey. Camp
Yeah.
Lehigh. Camp
Camp
Lehigh.
Jersey.
Camp
Jersey.
Lehigh. And we get to the Zola robot, which in
That
this
was
form and
great.
fashion,
Oh,
which in
that
this
was so
form and
fucking
fashion
funny.
is fucking computer banks. So in the comics, Arnim Zola does take on a computerized form, but it's more like it's
robot?
more similar. It's more similar to the type that we get towards the end of season 1 of What If, where he has a body and he's like he just inhabits this mechanical body, and Zola's like a face. Remember Krang from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
That was what I was thinking too. I was trying to
That's
remember his name.
In the comics, Zola is more like Krang than he is this. But I love this just as much because he's very headroom.
And it makes sense because he says he was diagnosed in 72. So like, yeah, unless people have been working on it, it's a secret project. Yeah, it makes sense. He's just on computer banks.
Yep. And I would imagine that eventually they would have upgraded like they do in, What If we get, the disk drive. He's on a, on a, what do you call it? USB stick. But he's just there to stall. He tells them about what Insight's all about. He tells them that Hydra still exists. But it's all to handle the explosion. That they've sent a missile to blow up the camp, to shut up Captain America. But there's nobody there. And whose door do they show up on? But poor fucking Sam. Sam comes back for a run. He just wants to make himself some breakfast. And these two motherfuckers show up on his door. Wanted fugitives showing up at his door.
He just wanted to get up, get some OJ, and like get done with his day. Starting out, it was going to be a long one. Man, it was a hard run. Steve wasn't out there. That kind of sucked. And then it's like, oh, okay. So this is what I signed up for.
Man, when I signed up to be Captain America's friend, I did not think I'd be harboring a fugitive.
Or whether Captain America is the one who, eventually like came over to talk with him. So it would be Captain America wanted him to be his friend, not the other way around.
Yeah, but he made sure to maintain that friendship with Cap. I mean, he didn't just be like, oh no, I don't want nothing to do with you, Cap.
No.
You 80-year-old man who got frozen for 70 years. No. I'm not gonna deal with you.
Yeah, no. That's not what I was saying.
But we also get the story about Riley. We get the true story about the mission. We find out that he wasn't indeed a pilot like Captain America thought he was. He had an exosuit.
But it doesn't reveal the exosuit technically yet. Not until
it calls it exo. It calls it the file that he has calls it exo/Falcon.
Yeah,
because it's
but
the
again,
exosuit.
It's Happy Big Flyboy suit.
Yeah.
Happy Big Flyboy suit. We have to go and break it out.
Yeah,
and
because
why didn't we get that
Happy
scene?
Big Flyboy suit?
That is a good question. Why didn't we get the scene of them breaking it up? By the way, also I want to just throw it out there because it's probably something that everybody understands, but the exosuit, the Falcon suit, is a Stark product. Figure that out there.
100%.
It's a little known fact that some people miss, but the exosuit is indeed
it's Stark Tech
because everything is Stark Tech.
Yep.
We get another emotional.
Except if it's vibranium.
We get another a scene between Cap and Widow where they tell each other their emotions after their showers. They're just sitting there and they're talking, and she asks if he trusts her. And he gives the most Cap answer of all Cap answers. I do now.
Mm-hmm.
He does now.
Makes sense.
Sure. We get Gary Shandling being an absolute pervert, which probably tracks, I'd imagine.
So good though in here. Do you know how bad I wanted him to be Del Rusk?
and be eventually revealed as Red Skull. Do you know how badly I wanted him to be Del Rusk? Oh,
We get the first mention of Hail Hydra because we now know that Hydra exists, so we can start bringing it out into the light. Talks about the reporter or something that she wants to be that he's about to go press the flesh with as a constituent, which is just so gross. And I'm like, we don't need this. Why do we have this?
because it's politics, man. That's politics.
Yeah, but I didn't need it in my Marvel movie. And then they kidnap him and they bring him to the roof.
Well, they
and they're about
kidnapped
to push.
Casper. Not
That's what I'm talking about. Oh
not
yeah,
Senate.
sorry.
Yeah.
They kidnap Sitwell. And there's this great scene, and again, I love trying to get
off the roof.
I was gonna say I love trying to get in trouble with Marvel, so we're gonna push our boundaries here.
Never heard of it. What were you doing on the Luminaries?
That was amazing. That's my favorite scene.
Is this little display meant to insinuate that you can throw me off the roof? Because it's really not your style, Rogers.
No, it's not. You're right. It's not. It's hers.
Wham!
Beautiful.
Oh wait, what about
That
girl from
kick was
Something?
great.
Laura.
Lillian. Lip piercing, right?
Yeah, she's cute.
Yeah. I'm not ready for that.
I love how the guy's falling to his potential death if Sam don't get there in time, and she's like, "Hey, what about this girl? You could go out and date this girl." He's like, "No, she has a lip piercing. I'm not ready for that."
The reveal of this suit was just great.
The TV anchor in Cairo, the Undersecretary of Defense, high school valedictorian, Iowa City. Bruce Banner, Stephen Strange, anyone who's a threat to Hydra. Now,
Stephen Strange.
in the future.
Bruce Banner, Stephen Strange, our first name drop of Stephen Strange. When he says a TV anchor in Cairo, my mind immediately went to Moon Knight. Because there are very few characters who take place in Cairo. So I immediately thought of Moon Knight when they started talking about a TV anchor in Cairo. But unfortunately, it was not the case. I wish we would.
Moon Knight because that character.
I know you don't like Moon Knight. It's fine.
I
You
loved
can
Moon
be
Knight.
I agree. He's
I
just
loved it for
sour.
itself. I loved it for itself.
I didn't like
What do we
it.
think? What do we think about the name drops here? Where they name drop, people
that
who
was
would have been
great.
eliminated.
That was a lot of fun.
I love it.
To hear Strange, that was pretty cool at the time. I know there were a few of my friends who popped real bad. Hold on. Y'all going ahead.
All right, so Sitwell now starts to freak out as he realizes that he's told everybody everything and that he's doomed for death, which starts the bridge scene, which again talks about how great this movie is, where we have Bucky trying to take out the team on the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Widow shoots him in the eye, and then we get down to business. And it's just fantastic. It's so good.
Well, her just swinging under the bridge, like all Spider-Man like, was great.
So cool.
Yeah.
So cool in that film. Fuck. So cool.
Yeah. So
That
good.
everything, honestly, about that scene was just brilliantly timed. There weren't too many cuts. There weren't too few cuts. It didn't have tons and tons of shaky cam, just enough to give the illusion of motion. Just so nice. So nice.
Everything just
And for
felt
there to be two such skillfully done fight scenes in the same film, and possibly two of the best fight scenes in the entire MCU. Again, not just one.
that fake out with the phone was great.
So
Yeah.
cool.
It's so smart. And it gives her the element of surprise, but it just showcases how great of a fighter Bucky is because he dispatches of her with no issue. The only reason she gets away is because she has her EMP little bead thing that she throws at him. that shuts his arm down and for a couple of seconds. And even then, he still shoots her in the shoulder.
But then we get Cap coming in. Those two just throwing down was so good.
No.
Look at that. Just look at, even if fast forward, it's still good. That punch sending him flying was so good.
Beautiful. It's like, Bucky? Who the
Yeah,
hell
his
is
mask.
Watch Sebastian's eyes right there. It's the eyes. It's the eyes from Sebastian Stan of that when his eyes go wide after he calls him Bucky.
It's that moment where you're like, core memory unlocked.
Oh, it's just like
So
you
good.
see it in his eyes. He's still got the deadpan face, but you
He's
see
so
it in the
good.
eyes. You see
You
it in
see
the
this
eyes.
hope.
So,
You see
Yeah.
this like it's like hope. It
Mhm.
feels like, and you see it later in the scene with him and Robert Redford too. It's like so who's Bucky? Like there's hope. And then he just gets the shit slapped out of him. That was another amazing scene. It's like baby's first torture scene, basically.
Yeah. We get them being, taken in by the strike team. They're going to dispose of them, but not here because the media is all here with their helicopters and their reporters. So we got to make sure that we deal with this later. So they take them into custody. But of course, Maria Hill's one of the people who takes them into custody. So she gets them out. They use the lightsaber again to get out of the van before they get killed. They find out that Fury's alive. And then we get, as Lauren did say, baby's first torture scene, as we have them trying to repair Bucky and him remembering everything, and just so good.
Mm-hmm.
Such a good job.
Oh, so good.
And then Robert Redford comes in to tell him who's the boss. And it's great. Slaps the shit out of him. Look at that.
If you sure he wasn't the bad guy, if you weren't sure he wasn't the bad guy, you know he's the bad guy now.
Yeah. But he goes ahead and sends him back to the brainwashing cult to go ahead and get his brain wiped and reset so that he can go back to being the killer that he needs him to be. And then we get the sit-down scene where Fury lays out the fact that he knew Hydra was there all along, and Steve's like, well, then what the hell happened? Why did so many people have to die? And he's like, well, we're in this fucking cave, so I figured it out, didn't I? Yeah, too little, too late, Fury. Too fucking little, too fucking late.
Mm-hmm.
But we get the plan. We're going to go ahead and use the targeting chips to go ahead and get the Insight helicarriers to destroy themselves. But oh no, launch is in just a few hours. So now we're on a ticking clock because it's a superhero. Of course we have to be on a ticking clock.
Yep.
Now we get into the third act. I love this movie. I really do. There are so many good things. There are so many good things about this movie. But this third act is the weakest of the three acts.
You're wrong.
You're wrong, and you're so wrong that your mother was wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, what she said.
I will defend my position with this. If you exclude anything that happens between Bucky and Steve, the majority of the third act is just kind of there.
Yeah, but you're not omitting it. It's all one, and it's a great third act, dude. You can't omit part of the third act and say it was bad. It's all one.
You can.
The stuff. No, you can't. It's all one big third act. You can't take it away, motherfucker, because it's all one big third act.
The monologue was amazing. The fight scene was,
dude. Him giving that speech was awesome.
Yes, that really, like, they could have dropped the ball on some other stuff in part 3, but they didn't. They had
I will
that.
agree that the speech is good. I will agree the speech is good.
And then like Sharon and the analyst standing up to Rumlow and the strike team.
That was so
Great stuff
good.
there.
So
I'll
good.
admit the World Security Council stuff is kind of filler in my personal opinion, but everything else is absolute perfection. Like I don't know, I enjoy the third act. It's a great third act. It's probably one of the best third acts in Marvel history.
I'm just saying, in comparison to the rest of the movie, the third act is a little light. There's the speech, and then there's the Bucky and Steve stuff. And beyond that, I think it's compared to what we've already had for the past hour and a half.
You get Falcon versus Rumlow. You get
So
Falcon jumping out a window to land in a helicopter. No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
You're just wrong.
Maybe.
It's 2-1. You're wrong. We established this.
You're super wrong. And of course, I mean, so I talk a lot about this film and sort of the bisexual aspect, but you can't look at filmmaking. You can't look at the history of queer filmmaking and not see that several of these scenes, at least at the end, were absolutely queer coded. And, you can't you can't talk me down from that, and having that at the very least as an undertone that could be carried through future films. You don't put that much of an accent on a letter if you don't want people to look at the letter.
And even the stuff, as you're saying, because a lot of it's you talk about the Bucky and Cap stuff, but even Redford and Sam Jackson too. Even in there, that's like this kinship that is when he shows up is when the Security Council stuff starts to get good. But like he is even their friendship is has that a little bit to it too.
Yeah, there's absolutely so much unresolved sexual tension, and everybody was expecting it to come from the hot girl character, and it didn't. I was just that was stunning for the female gaze at the time, and I still believe that this was definitely not made for the boys. I'm not sure this film was made for the boys.
It was made for some boys.
It was made for like men.
I'm saying it was made for some boys.
It was made for some boys. No, it was made for the adults in the room.
Yeah,
I agree. Maybe I poorly chose the words on this. The portions of this movie where I pull out my phone and start looking at other things and doing other things is portions of this third act. This is the portion of the movie where
I do that with every movie throughout the entirety of every movie. That's just culture now. Come on.
But for this movie in this portion, even today, rewatching it for the 400th time, this is the point where I still take out my phone and start, playing Marvel Snap or doing something else. But we talked about it. We're going to go ahead and play it. The wonderful speech by Cap.
Attention all S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. This is Steve Rogers. I've heard a lot about me over the last few days. Some of you were even ordered to hunt me down.
But I think it's time you know the truth. S.H.I.E.L.D. is not what we thought it was. It's been taken over by Hydra.
Alexander Pierce is their leader. The Strike and Insight crew are Hydra as well.
I don't know how many more. But I know they're in the building.
They could be standing right next to you. They almost have what they want. Absolute control.
They shot Nick Fury.
And it won't end there.
If you launch those helicarriers today, Hydra will be able to kill anyone that stands in their way. Unless we stop them. I know I'm asking a lot. But the price of freedom is high. It always has been. And it's a price I'm willing to pay. And if I'm the only one, then so be it. I'm willing to bet I'm not.
And I'm just waiting for Ant-Man to go, man, he gives a good speech.
So fucking stupid.
Oh.
And of course, this begins, the plan that we have. Bucky, Sam and Cap try to go ahead and get the 3 chips planted. The first 2 go off mostly without a hitch. They both get their first 2. They go ahead and try to work together to get the 3rd, but at this point, the Winter Soldier's out there trying to stop them. So we go ahead and we have Sam get the pack ripped apart a little bit, and he gets grounded. So it's just Cap on the side of the helicarrier dealing with the Winter Soldier, trying to get the last one down.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Andre, earlier, we have the point where Sharon Carter and the guy who works the desk standing up to Rumlow, being like captain's orders, which starts the gunfight, which kills most of the people in the room, and then they get the launch sequence going anyways because the bad guys got to get their things going.
It's true.
It is true. Is there anything up to there that we need up to the 3rd chip that we need to talk about before we get going through some of this?
I do love the little reveal of some SHIELD agents running out. Like, where's only air support, even though there's Falcon flying through the sky.
Yeah.
It is humorous to me.
And then Winter Soldier just goes ahead and just executes the guy in the plane. Just one bullet right to the top of the head.
Dude,
it's the murder strut. He has this murder strut that he uses this entire film. It's just, I don't know where you come up with that kind of thing, but it's not moving like a fucking human.
That's true.
No. And then we get, they're going to go ahead and dump all the Hydra secrets and all the SHIELD secrets on the internet. He's like, we already got rid of your thing.
Your clearance from the system. I know you erased my password. Probably deleted my retinal scan. But if you want to stay ahead of me, Mr. Secretary, you need to keep both eyes open.
The Flurgan attack!
It's cool, but all right.
The fact that it's just such a stupid reason why his eyes fucked up now.
Yep.
The Flurgan. Ugh.
And then we get, the epitome of the 3rd act. Like I said, my favorite portion of the 3rd act, the only portion I really, really enjoy of most of this 3rd act. Cap and Bucky fighting. Cap continuously throughout the entire thing, not only trying to fight his friend, but trying to get through to his friend.
Mm-hmm.
And doing everything he can to get rid of him in a non-lethal way, while Bucky's more than happy to kill him if he has to, as he wants to. But it's just...
all while trying not to drop a mini disc.
All without trying to drop a mini disc. Yeah, and then we get Rumlow fighting Falcon, and it's fine.
It's a good fight, man. What the hell?
It's okay.
It was lovely.
We've had great fight scenes in this movie. That was just fine. That was your standard Marvel fare.
Not everything can be Cap versus Bucky. Come on.
No, but Cap versus Bucky's the reason we're here talking about this movie for an hour and 50 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Almost as long as the entire movie.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
But they finally get the 3rd one in, and then Cap stays aboard. Instead of just jumping off and saving himself, he stays aboard, try to save Bucky. But
Bucky shoots
turns
him.
out Bucky had already shot him.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So the planes start going down. Cap gets caught up in the crossfire. Cap's in the water. Bucky yanks him out, drags him to shore, gives him one last longing look, and walks away into the unknown.
The pure love in that look.
That look that says, I don't really remember who this man is, but I'm going to wife him up so hard one day.
Absolutely. It's absolutely.
No, I for real am joking. It's a wonderful expression of sort of again another moment of, is this hope?
Yeah.
Which can be a very tricky feeling to convey without words.
Yeah. I always say this is the confusion. This is where we're beginning the confusion state of Bucky, where he's in that limbo between being the Hydra's Winter Soldier and being James Buchanan Barnes. And there's that middle land of confusion between who he is and what he's been programmed. And it's so good. And it makes this movie so good. And then you have Cap in the hospital bed with Sam sitting there playing the Trouble Man soundtrack.
On your left, bitch.
Just sitting there. And Cap just wakes up a little bit and sees him there, closes his eyes and goes, on your left. And Sam smiles. And then we get part one of the post-credit scenes is we get Black Widow talking to Congress, where she basically tells them to go shove it. But you're like, you're not going to arrest us. You're not going to arrest any of us because we're your only hope. So see ya. So she pieces out. We see Nick Fury burning all the Nick Fury stuff. And he says, if anybody needs to know where to find me, and he points to one of his graves, which again is great after having seen Secret Invasion, where we see another Nick Fury grave in Finland. So
yeah. And then Baron Wolfgang von Strucker.
Yep.
So
it's not a world of It's not a world of spies.
It's a world of miracles.
Stage of miracles, Doctor.
Ugh.
There's nothing more horrifying than a miracle.
So good.
So good.
And that, my friends, is Captain America and the Winter Soldier. We've gone on a long time with this one. Andre, me, and Lauren, I'm going to assume for the movies that have come to this point, we're all putting it at number one, correct?
Yes.
Okay. For all the movies, so me and Andre have a list going of all the movies in order, like where they rank at the time that we do the ratings. And right now, we have slightly different ones. There's a couple of movies that have done. But we're both obviously, and Lauren's obviously putting this to the top of her list because, again, she comes in with this is the best bisexual movie made in the 20th century.
21st, but yes. Yeah.
21st century.
Yeah, so right now, Ed is Winter Soldier, then Avengers, then First Avenger, then Iron Man, Thor, Iron Man 2, Dark World, Iron Man 3, Incredible Hulk. I am currently at Winter Soldier, then the Avengers, then Iron Man, then Captain America, First Avenger, then Thor, then Iron Man 2, Dark World, Iron Man 3, Incredible Hulk.
But we can't get out of here without playing the game, Andre. We got some games left to play. This movie had a budget of $170 million. What was the worldwide gross for Captain America and the Winter Soldier?
I don't think this was $1 billion movie.
No, this did not hit $1 billion.
I'm gonna say like 750.
Little high. I thought you were gonna say 715, and I was gonna throw a hit. 714. Yeah, 714. $714 million.
Good job.
It killed it in the absolute box office. It's one of the highest grossing Marvel movies in the history. And of course, 311 reviewers on Rotten Tomatoes as actual critics have reviewed this movie. What is the critics' rating But Lauren, you can also play this game if you haven't looked as well. 311 critics.
My number is 95.
For the
That
critic
sounds
score.
somewhere correct. I'll put it a little lower because sometimes people, are fucking stupid. So I'll say closer to 90.
It is indeed 90 on the dot for the critic score.
Woo!
Certified fresh, but 90 is a hell of a score for the critics. Let's be honest. It is. I believe this is the first MCU movie to get a 90 when it comes to the critic score.
Yes, either I want
It might be the Avengers, but I think it's pretty close. And then we get to the audience score. 250,000 plus ratings. Audience score on Rotten Tomatoes for Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
It's got to be 100%.
Between 90 and 95, probably 92.
92 on the dot, Miss Lauren.
Dude, no.
Yep. 92 on
How
the
is
dot.
this not a perfect 100% audience score? I don't understand.
Because some people don't like good things. They don't want nice things for people.
All right,
They
let's
don't
go on.
allow themselves to have fun.
Okay, I'm going on there now.
Okay. No, I got it. Here is Pathetic B is the name of the person who left this review on the audience score. It is a 3-star score. And it is, this is a disgusting bonbon wrapped inside an even more disgusting bonbon, dropped inside a bucket of blood, puke, and unreflected patriotic slime, then spilled over with the squirming toad that is the brain of your average American moron, whose brow you can safely grate across the floor of the bottom of the deepest barrel, and who will still love and even pay you for it. 2 additional stars just so this shows up. That's Rotten Tomatoes for you. That last line, by the way, is in the actual review. That's Rotten Tomatoes for you.
Wow.
Who has written off fun to such an extent? Oh,
We do have a more normally written review. Tyler G, 2.5 stars.
Okay.
The post 9/11, are we the baddies? No, someone has to do it. Energy is overwhelming. Yuck. Forgettable villain. Action scenes more like a Fast movie than a Marvel movie. Not a fan of this one.
Tyler G, you suck.
No. Everybody is entitled to their wrong opinion.
He sucks for it.
But no, for real. I mean, he can think that. I'd love to see what other stuff he has reviewed higher.
I'm not going to bother to even bother.
Don't bother with it. That's literally like petty me running around and trying to get information type stuff. It's that shit I'll sit there for 30 minutes and do when y'all don't want to.
I'm just trying to look on the all-time grossing list, but this is domestic, and I didn't remember the domestic number, so now I gotta backtrack to see where it rates because I can't find it. Yeah, domestic. Ironically, this movie doesn't do very well domestically.
Nope.
It only hit $259 million domestically. A large majority of this movie's revenue came from overseas. It is 259, puts it 135th all time on the list of domestic movies with all-time gross.
That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
That's so crazy good for a spy film, for a comic book spy film. Like if you excise it from the Marvel universe, it's still a very good film. Yeah. And if you take it away from the franchise, that there's even a spy film in that isn't a James Bond film is kind of amazing.
Lauren, we're getting ready to get out of here.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. Are you doing anything creative on the interwebs, and where can people find you otherwise to see your incredible Twitter game?
Well, my Twitch stream is twitch.tv/Lauren Goodnight. I stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays when life is calm. And if you want to see the moves I make online, you're more likely going to see them on Twitter, where I am Lulu Goodnight, LULUGOODNIGHT.
And if you want some real fun, go ahead and look her up on Wikipedia, where you can go ahead and see what a wonderful voice actress this lovely woman is, because she does have a great past doing some incredible work as a voice actress. Oh, you thought I was going to forget? By the way, we do really need to one of these days rewrite that Wikipedia thing, because we've been talking about doing that for a year and a half.
I was able to I put it in with a couple of friends who are also going to need things changed. And
okay.
Yep.
There was some glaring.
We made a big group of like reference documents.
There was large gaps of truth in her.
It was bad. It was bad. It was not great for a while.
Andre, what do you got coming up in the near future?
Oh shit, I got a lot. We just dropped a bunch of stuff on my channel, youtube.com/Andre Miller Wrestling Talk. We just dropped the Stardom show. We just dropped a review of Dominion. We just dropped a Chop Talk. Friday I've got so much news for Japanese wrestling on Friday. There is some AEW because I got to talk about the Japanese guys going in Forbidden Door. So much happening in Marigold, just WWE. People coming there, WWE and Noah looking to be making a deal here. So lots of information coming this Friday on Japanese Wrestling Update, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. You can find me and Melba breaking down all the news in Japanese professional wrestling live this week.
And it's a good thing it's live, because I got another piece for you. Marigold just dropped the design for the Superfly Championship.
Oh, I have that already.
Oh, okay.
I have that already.
It was just sent to me because an NXT superstar retweeted it with the eyes emoji. So
yeah. And if this is just a quick word. If anybody watches this is in Edmonton area, just happens to be this weekend is Gamescom Canada in Edmonton at the Edmonton Expo Center. I will be there helping out my boy Adam Blank at his booth for the Remember the Game podcast. So come out. I'll be there Friday and Sunday there, in and out of the booth. So come check it out.
Absolutely. And of course, Saturday night main event, you can go ahead and check them out. Sunday night main event. I'm a WWE fan. I can't not see main event and not think Saturday. But go ahead and check them out. They do fantastic work. The Eric Bischoff interview, I believe, is finally released.
Yes, that is Donnie, I think, put that up, yeah.
You can, of course, find me on the Twitter at edfries12584. You can find me on the Twitch at twitch.tv/edfries2002. You can catch me every Tuesday night as me and Astrid go ahead and we take over the airways when we talk about all things NXT. Next Monday, you can go ahead and catch me and Astrid as we do Talking Takeover, where we're going to go ahead and talk about the next takeover. We just got done talking about Takeover. I believe it was our Evolution, the debut of Kevin Owens, where he took Sami Zayn and put him in his place on his debut after his best friend won the championship. So we're definitely going to be talking about Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens in the main event of Takeover. So go ahead and check us out for that. You can also catch me and Andre not this week, but next week, as we go ahead and do our next episode in the MCU Rebound series, as we're going to be talking about, does some math, Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1, correct?
Yes, I started watching it after I finished the movie today.
So we'll definitely be talking about another great fun episode as we go ahead and talk all things Guardians 1. James Gunn is fantastic. We both are big fans, so you can go ahead and check that out. Remember that you can check out all the things at our local establishment at all these wonderful places. Remember to go ahead and give us a like and a subscribe on the YouTube side, as we're going ahead and we're pushing the monetization there, so we greatly appreciate it. If you like this episode, tell us about your thoughts about this movie or our review of this movie in the comments section after the fact. We love comments. We get to them. Me and Bobby check those comments probably every day, if not more than once a day. So please make sure you go ahead and check that out, as we will go ahead and get back to you. But for our wonderful guest, Lauren Goodnight, for my buddy, Andre C. up there in the corner, thank you very much. This has been Marvel Talk, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.